My recording as well.
And I as well.
Well, that's going to be the first thing you hear when you listen to mine. Yeah, sorry, I finished lunch, and I was like, oh my god, it's 1 o'clock. So I grabbed my phone, and I was like, as I suspected.
Oh, I got to change the thing to 143. Okay. All right. I'm good. We can clap.
1, 2, 3. Hello, listeners. This is BarelyADS, the show where we shoot from the hip. I'm your host, Detective Ben Malone, and with me today is Xanafan711, and I make him quack.
Oh, hey.
What is up, my doggies?
Not much. Just to clarify for the listeners, Xanafan711 actually is my brother. We came from the same woman's uterus.
Yes.
This week's Band of the Week is brought to you by Boo Boo. Boo Boo. It's an urban way to say ghost poop. Is it? Anyway, that Band of the Week is Sophomore, and you can find their album God Save My Beating Heart at sophomoreuk.bandcamp.com. And the best way to describe it is melancholy love songs from Bath, Southwest UK. I couldn't think of a better way to say it. It cost £5, and in case you live anywhere it's whatever. It's $6.41 here. There was a joke coming, but I fucked it up. If you want your band on or anything else on the show, send us an email to BarelyADestinyShow@gmail.com. Go to twitter.com/BarelyADS or go to our website, BarelyADS.com. And from there, you can get into our Discord or join our Discord or go to the YouTube channel and please hit subscribe. It'll help me speak more clearly next week if you do. You could also go to patreon.com/BarelyADS to support us monetarily. And two big asks: tell a friend about this show and get into the Discord, play some games.
Play some games. Tell us what you're playing. Tell us what you thought of those games.
Yeah. Maybe if you tell us what you thought of the games that you're playing, we might put that on the show. We've done it before.
Indeed. Multiple times.
Yes. Also, if you would not mind, and I know we're asking a lot of you, take a few seconds with those thumbs. Give us an iTunes review. 5 stars only.
And we promise we'll check if we've gotten any soon.
Yep.
I checked this last week, and it didn't look like there were any super new. But I think that was Monday, so maybe there have been some since.
You know, I know that not all of you have reviewed the podcast.
This is true.
I know these things because I am God. Hey, what have you guys been playing this week?
I picked up Magic: The Gathering Arena, and I've been enjoying that. I haven't really played Magic in probably pretty close to 20 years because I started playing and played almost exclusively. It's an elementary school child, whatever you call those little humans. So I've been getting reacquainted with that and really enjoying it. And then I did the exotic quest this week. Did you guys go through that?
Yep, the whole like 45 minutes of it.
Yeah, it was super short.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got to the part where I had to leave the tower and was like, nah, I'm good.
It's fun to play around with for half as long as it took to get it.
Yeah, it feels like a hello.
Yeah. I was kind of questioning. I was like, I wonder how this is going to play. And it's like, well, it is what I thought it was.
I mean, it would have to do like twice as much damage as it does for me to even care about it for 1 second.
I did watch a Slick Cactus video, and he was taking it through a bunch of encounters in Last Wish, and it does seem to do well against groups of red bar enemies. Like if they're tightly grouped up, you can blast pretty much all of them with one shot. He was comparing it to a rocket launcher. But that draw speed, holy crap.
Yeah.
It's slow as hell. I kind of want to jump in the Crucible and try and meme on some people with it, though.
And for the draw speed, and even like, oh, you can clear enemies with it. If you've got a bow with Dragonfly, you can do the exact same thing.
In half the time.
Yep.
But you got to hit him in the head. And for people like me, that's just not an option.
That's true. You would probably have to ADS for that.
And I barely do that.
That's the name of the show. We rated this week.
Yeah, I was trying to think if I played anything else. I haven't. I dropped off of Batman real quick.
Yeah. Well, we're on Destiny right now. So Ben and I hopped in, got to the final boss on Friday night.
Yep.
And there's some weird glitch that RNG Gator was getting. What was it? Weaseled?
I don't know. He got booted for like an hour.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it sucked.
We had to reset the instance in order for it to work. So, yeah, that was real bad. We didn't beat the final boss.
I jumped into the raid last
damage
night.
phases?
We got to one damage phase.
Okay.
I got to the same exact spot last night and stopped again. But I did get the raid fusion rifle, which is pretty freaking awesome.
I really like it.
And
did you get a nice roll on it?
I got high impact reserves, so
right.
I could use it in the Crucible.
So half of a good roll.
Yeah, and I think I don't remember what the other roll is or what the other perk that I got on it was. I also got the pulse rifles twice.
I got that one too.
Ooh, that's nice.
Yep.
I've yet to get that one.
Actually, I got the same role as one of the guys I was playing with last night at the same time. I was like, well, that's kind of weird, right?
I've got a conspiracy theory about that. Because I've started seeing a lot of the same roll on the same weapons. So I think with Shadowkeep, they like created a second tier of like curated roles where there's certain roles that are made more heavily to create like specific builds with guns. So it's not as random because people always complain about the randomness. Because I've gotten like 3 or 4 of the exact same subtle calamity down to every single perk. And it just seems like strange that you would get that as not a curated role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got rangefinder and headseeker on my sacred provenance. Oof. And then I also got the reckless oracle, which I have not used, so I have no idea what that's like.
Is that the auto?
Yes, it is. It is the
I love the
energy auto. So feeding frenzy and high impact reserves on the zealot's reward.
Oh, that's really nice. Feeding Frenzy's low-key really nice on fusions.
Yeah, I was really happy with it because when we were running last night, the only void weapon I had on me was Swarm of the Raven, which is not the best when somebody's right in your face. And that fusion rifle is so crispy.
Yeah.
That charge time is immaculate.
I love the sound it makes, too. It's got a really good, like, punchy kind of fusion sound to it.
Other than that, I did actually run Scourge of the Past. I didn't finish it. We got through the Sparrow race part.
Yeah. It's because Nar wants anarchy real bad.
And I got Bellowing Giant, the rocket launcher, and I got a chest piece. So I was like, okay, well, that's fine. Kind of cool because I've been doing a ton of the Black Armory stuff, trying to work my way towards Jotun. Disappointed, though, when I crafted my 4th legendary weapon and checked my quest and I only had 2 done.
Ooh.
Yeah.
No good.
So I know that the Izanagi's quest was bugged, and I'm wondering if that affects all the other exotic quests. Because, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it says that I need to create 10 legendary weapons from the Black Armory, and there's not 10 different weapons. 10 different frames, if I'm correct.
I think it's just 10 total,
Yeah,
maybe.
because I was like, I don't think there's 10 frames. Write in with your corrections if you know, because I will not check. But that would mean that you'd have to craft the same weapon more than once. So I just kept crafting the pulse rifle, trying to get a better roll on it, and it only gave me credit for the first time I'd crafted that and the first time I crafted the auto rifle.
Huh.
Yeah, bummed out, man.
I had the hardest time getting Jotun.
I don't remember how it was supposed to be obtained before, but
It was when you were doing one of your powerful rewards. If you did it at Izanagi's, it had a random chance of dropping. So you could at most have 6 tries at it a week.
oh,
And I probably went 2.5 months of doing 6 a week without getting it.
well, it's a good thing that the quest lines are here now. And
Yeah.
almost all of them, you just have to kill stuff with whatever type of weapon you're trying to get and then craft 10 weapons. In fact, I think that is all of them. And also, I don't know. We already talked about the Izanagi's quest being bugged, so. Because I
Should
was,
be fixed on Tuesday.
yeah, I was going and trying to grab the keys and just nothing would happen. And I was just like, this doesn't make any sense to me. But that's a fun activity. I never did the forges the first time around. And I actually have a pretty good time doing them. I went and I did a bunch of stuff in Destiny. I got the Pain and Gain quest done to give myself a nice little boost for my energy slot. And then also, now that I have the Catalyst, I've just been running around relentlessly trying to get kills with that. But the crappy part is I did the quest. I started the quest before reset and finished it after reset, went back into the forge, and it was no longer the Fallen Forge. And I was like, oh, man, that would have been so easy to get that finished. But I did that, and I finished the Ace of Spades Catalyst,
Nice.
which is pretty fun. I like that gun now. Well, more than I did before.
It's, I mean, bigger explosions. You
Yeah.
gotta like it. To go back to the raid, since I wanted to say something and couldn't earlier, I've gotten 8 chests out of the 6 encounters total. 6 of those drops have been the boots.
Ooh.
6.
Are you getting good
Yeah.
rolls on them at least? Like anything 60 plus?
No, they're solar. I need void boots.
Or you just change your subclass.
It doesn't have to do with your subclass. It has to do with your mods.
Yeah, Void is for
Oh,
sniper
yeah.
and
Grenade launchers
and grenade launchers. Yeah.
and hand cannons and snipers and
Mm-hmm.
the stuff that people like to use a lot.
Oh, I was going to check my rolls that I got, but all of the logos for all of my arms are the lion shoulder arms because I ornamented all of them.
Oh. Yeah.
So that's good.
And then, so outside of Destiny, I played a bunch of Dota Underlords because there was an update that they have called the Big Update.
I saw about that.
Yeah, so they added like a overarching hero that you always have. There's like 2 you can choose from, and then you can slowly level them up, which changes the perks that you can get. So like you can get an item every 5 levels, and then every 10, I think it is, you get like a mod to one of the base heroes' abilities. So I've been using, I don't know her name, but it's the girl, and she heals. And so I've just been focusing a lot on like tanky heroes and healing
Mm-hmm.
because they added new alliances too. So they added healing, they added bugs of some kind. They changed a couple of them. Some of the warriors are something different now. I can't remember what it is, but it's like a gray hammer thing. So they added a bunch of alliances, and because there's so many heroes now, every day they rotate out like one that affects each alliance. So, but you can still activate the full alliance for each one. So it's been a little bit different, but I got my first win with the new meta last night running. It was like healing, druid, warlock, uh, aggressor, and something else. I don't know. I had like 6 alliances going, but it was mostly warlock, and felt really good. At the very end, I stabilized at 18 health, and the last like 10 rounds, no one could touch me because my guys were healing so much and just tanking everything. It was amazing.
Don't they have a duo queue now?
Don't they what?
Have a duo queue now?
Yeah, you can do so you can actually play with a friend. We'll have to try that out, Quack.
Yeah, that sounds like a good time.
Yeah, you share a life pool
Hmm.
and can trade heroes between the two of you.
Interesting. So that could really help, I feel like, in the mid game where you're hunting for like 1 or 2 different heroes just to fill out your roster.
Yeah,
If you have 2 people who can search for it.
Yeah, pick them up from each other or for each other, because if you're communicating well, then it'll be like, hey, I need this, this, and this. And if you see it in your pool of heroes that you can buy from, you just grab it and toss it to your buddy.
Do you share gold too, or are you on your own gold throughout?
I can't remember. I read the whole. There was a lot in the patch notes. So yeah, I can't remember that, but I know it's shared life pool. I don't know if it's shared board too. Have to see. We'll have to try it out and report back for sure.
For sure.
And then in IRL, I got sent to North Carolina for work on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And so after my meeting, I had dinner with RNG Gator. Met him and his wife and 2 kids, and we just sat and ate and talked for a good 2 hours, and it was a great time. Really good dude, great family. So it was fun.
Super cool.
In real life, did the most daunting task you can do on a bike, which is releasing a wheel. If you don't know what that means, the hub in the middle, the part that spins everything, that's taking that out, putting different spokes on it, and putting a new rim on it. And the reason that's extremely daunting is, I don't know if you've looked at spokes, but how the hell do you even do that? And then also trying to get the hub centered in the X and Y axis. It's actually way easier than I thought it was going to be. So I'm thoroughly happy with it. I have a little bit more work to do. But yeah, I swapped a hub from one wheel to another, and then I have a new hub coming in the mail. So I figured, why not get practice in with my old stuff? And I'm no longer extremely intimidated by it, but it is still definitely the hardest thing that you can do on a bike.
Nice.
Well, on a bike that doesn't have gears. I'm sure that messing with derailleurs and all that sort of stuff that people with gears have is way more difficult to figure out.
No doubt.
But YouTube is great, and I love it. So yeah, got some new parts coming. Super stoked on that. I'm sure I'll just update everyone next week after I actually get them, because I'll have more to say about free coaster hubs and all that garbage. All right.
Nice.
Quack, how's life?
Good. Same old, same old. Didn't have D&D this week. Our DM's out of town, and I'll be gone next week. Going to LA.
Ooh.
See my best friend. We're gonna go to Six Flags, go to a Clippers game, go hiking in the mountains. You know, California stuff.
Well, I'm excited
Sounds great.
for your IRL update when you return from Los Angeles.
Yeah, I am hoping to miss all of the cold front that's coming through the Midwest this next week. So
I'm just absolutely dying for it to get cold enough to kill off all the foliage here, so that way I can start digging trails, because there's a lot of poison ivy where I want to dig, and I'd rather just wait for it to die.
Yep.
So,
and it just started getting warmer again. So.
Yeah. I am so disappointed that as soon as I move away from the Midwest, now I'm like, please get cold.
I'm loving it.
I don't think I've ever said that before.
Well, cold here is, I don't know.
Not
It does
even
snow,
cold.
but I'm sure it won't snow for a long time still.
Yeah.
Anyway, what is up with the news?
Let's get a clap in real quick.
1, 2, 3. What is up with the news?
All right. So first off, we're going to talk about Stadia. Google opening first Stadia game studio in Montreal. This is from Tom Marks at IGN. Jade Raymond, who is the VP and head of Stadia Games and Entertainment, gave us some information via a blog post this week. They will, quote, produce exclusive original content across a diverse portfolio of games in all your favorite genres. Stadia Games is also trying to make games Google's way by aiming to foster a, quote, diverse and inclusive workplace, focusing on culture. The first-party studio will be in Montreal, and they hope to create games that, quote, won't be possible on other platforms. So what that means is that they're going to try and take advantage of all the special features that we talked about a long time ago with Stadia, like YouTube integration and Twitch integration, or just streaming in general integration, things of that nature. Where like you could be watching a YouTube video and see someone playing a dope level, and you want to try it, so you click play, and that takes you to the game to play that dope level. That kind of stuff. It's going to be several years before we see a big new IP, and we'll be starting small with some indie style titles that will take advantage of the various features Stadia has to offer. What do you guys think about that? I mean, it makes sense that they'd want to make games that you can only play on Stadia, seeing as how they have.
I do find it a little bit funny that they say the Google way is diverse and inclusive workplace when in the past couple of years they've had multiple lawsuits about rampant sexism in Silicon Valley. But I mean, that what else are they going to say, you know?
Yeah.
It's Stadia. I just want to. I want to go to someone's house who has it and mess around with it. I heard some things about Stadia's controller not being wireless for a while unless you have the what's the Google thing, the thing you plug in your TV.
Chromecast.
Yeah, the Chromecast Deluxo Platinum, whatever it's called, is like the only one that you can actually do wireless with. And I was like, this
at first.
Yeah.
At first.
I don't know.
So it seems like they are jumping the gun a little bit with this. And that kind of leads into the next story, which is also Stadia related. Google says you might have to wait to play Stadia, even if you pre-order. This from Jay Peters at The Verge. The Founders Edition, which
Please
sold
came
out.
Back from a search.
Oh, thanks, Google. Oh, wow. So the Founders and Premier editions will be sent on a first-come, first-served basis. Stadia launches at 12 God's time on the 19th of November, but not everyone who pre-ordered will be able to play on that date. They ran out of hardware for their non-hardware required platform. So it's a bit ironic that a platform whose major selling point is that there is no hardware required is sold out, and many who pre-order will not be able to play right away because they have to build more hardware. Google claims they should be caught up within the first 2 weeks of launch.
That's not too bad.
No.
Yeah, and like just seeing into the future with what holds the rest of the show, it's a stark difference to what a lot of other studios have figured out in the past year, which is you can delay games and still make good money, if not better money, if you put out a better, more complete product.
Yes.
So for them to be like, oh yeah, like we could do it within 2 weeks, but it's more important that we release something with bad PR than take the bad PR of saying we're going to delay it and do it right.
Yeah.
Google, you will learn.
Yeah. This is the gaming future. You can just use your phone and whatever controller you want on whatever device you want. But you're going to have to wait probably 2 weeks to play it because we ran out of controllers that are required to play at launch.
I'm interested to see where it goes. I have my doubts, but I still think even if it is successful and good, it's probably still 5 years away before it's something where I will care enough to pay for the subscription fees and whatever else. And I
Yeah,
still have major questions about like, what does the ownership of your library look like? Because
that's the big one.
if there's a game I really like playing and all of a sudden they decide to just take it offline, I've been paying the subscription fee or whatever, but it's not specifically for that game, so now I'm just out of luck.
Yep.
Right. And then you can't play it on another platform if you do buy it either.
Exactly.
We'll see. I still think that the idea of this being a console, in quotes, console for people that don't want to pay for a console is kind of the market. Like we are not the target demographic for Stadia.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's true. I know Beard ordered it, so we'll have to have him give us feedback on what he thinks. If he didn't
Maybe we can
cancel.
have him on.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe, Mitch. I'm just kidding, Mitch. I love you.
All right. I to go along with this a little bit, I am really interested to see how Xbox's version plays out, xCloud or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really funny if it works better. We'll say that.
Well, it has a good opportunity to work better, being that they have a history in gaming.
Yeah, this is true.
We'll keep you updated here on BarelyADS.
Yeah. All right, next, a pretty anticipated game came out this week. The Outer Worlds, a critical consensus from Hayden Taylor at GamesIndustry.biz. It's a sci-fi Fallout type thing from the original creators of Fallout and Fallout New Vegas, Obsidian Games, who were just bought by Microsoft last year, which means that this game is on Games Pass, and it wasn't going to be. But you can still buy it for PlayStation. Crazy, right?
Yep.
It's been pretty well received overall. I took one quote from the review that kind of encompasses everything. It says, "The Outer Worlds appears to be a plucky space romp with plenty of charm and gruesome head-exploding violence. By all accounts, it's remarkably less buggy than we've come to expect from Obsidian, and still achieves the trademark grim humor and rich narrative for which the studio is renowned." Funnily enough, this is the first Obsidian game that wasn't published by Bethesda, and it's much less buggy.
Yeah. Bethesda.
So it got a 79 out of 100 from PC Gamer. What the hell, PC Gamer? Out of 100? Seriously, just say 7.9. 8.5 from IGN and a 7 from PC Games N.
That's actually 85 out of 100 from IGN.
Just from people I've talked to and from what I've read, this sounds like it's great. And I have no doubt that when I'm at a spot where I can get some new games, this will be one of the ones I pick up because I loved Fallout and New Vegas. And then from a thematic standpoint, I find it interesting that Obsidian has always had a history of kind of anti-corporate, anti-capitalist messages in their games. But whereas in Fallout, it was more of an ironic or a satire of it, in this one, from what I've heard and seen, it's far more just on the nose with the way it presents it. And I think it's just an interesting shift in the way they portray the thematic elements that they like to incorporate with their games.
Yeah.
So
you see more of a true Obsidian feel than influenced by Bethesda Obsidian feel.
So my younger brother is playing this game currently, and I've watched a bit of it, and it's got that, you know when they have games, like they come out with a remaster, and people are like, oh, it plays the way I remember it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not plays the way that it actually was. It's the way that you remember. It is exactly that with Fallout New Vegas. Like I was watching him play and I was like, this just looks like the way I remember New Vegas in my head. And that's really cool because also watching it, it does kind of look a little dated. Just the whole way it is, but it's like, I mean, definitely if you're a big fan of New Vegas, you'll just be like, "Yep, this is that game, but in space now." So I was pleased. I mean, at least with the way the guns look and the interactions with people are. I've seen the stat trees and everything, and it's not like Fallout in that manner, but the gameplay is definitely just kind of like a remaster of New Vegas. It's really cool.
And I think it looks dated, and I think that's more a result of the art style that they use rather than the graphics, because the graphics and stuff, at least from what I've seen, do look just gorgeous.
Yeah.
But the like art style is very reminiscent of that Fallout kind of like punk-ish looking. Things are just scrambled together. It's a cool style.
And even like
Very colorful too.
when you're talking to a person, it's like the exact same thing as all the Fallout games. You know what I mean? Like somebody's always just standing there looking directly at you, and I was just like,
Yeah.
man, this is really cool. I could see how somebody who doesn't have a history with Fallout would be like, this is kind of, but if you don't have a history
Less
with Fallout,
cinematic.
what the hell is wrong with you?
Me, I've never played a Fallout.
God, they're so good.
New Vegas is the best one, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah,
I just know what I like, and it's not for me. So, and I'm okay with that.
I really like Fallout 3, but the small changes that they made to New Vegas, such as being able to ADS, I just wish somebody would mod Fallout 3 with all that stuff. I mean, somebody probably has. I just haven't played it.
Right.
But I would go through in New Vegas and turn off the crosshair. So if you were hip firing, you literally couldn't see where you were going to hit. You'd have to ADS, and I love doing that. And the survival mode and all that in New Vegas, I really really loved having your bullets actually have weight and having to eat and drink and sleep. I thought that was a lot of fun.
We'll have to get an official review from either Pete or Ben. Will probably play it too.
Yeah, as soon as he goes to work, I'm all on that game. And he said he picked it up for $50 at Walmart. So
Walmart's doing something weird where you can get games really cheap on day one.
yeah,
So, a game that probably should have been delayed and wasn't. Sony issues refunds to unhappy WWE 2K20 PS4 players. This is from Vicky Blake at Eurogamer. The game has gone viral on social media for its, quote, nightmarish and hilarious glitches. Hashtag fix WWE 2K20 was trending on Twitter, and the game's Steam page has been hit with hundreds of negative reviews, which dropped the game's rating to, quote, mostly negative. There's an image of a conversation with PlayStation support in which the refund was given with no questions asked, and pretty much immediately. It took all of 2 minutes for the refund to be given. And here is 2K's response. We are listening closely to the feedback that's been shared regarding WWE 2K20 and are aware of the concerns some players are reporting. We're working hard to investigate these concerns and address them as necessary. We expect to have an initial patch ready in the next 2 weeks with others to follow. Stay tuned to WWE Games social media channels for more information. And I saw some pictures, like the character creation is bugged. It's real, like eyeballs where in the forehead and teeth like at nose level and stuff. It's just a complete disaster.
oh Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, I don't understand how 2K does it, but 2K seems to, for at least one franchise every like other or every third year, somehow break a franchise that they've been releasing every single year since the dawn of frickin' time. Like, I don't understand how they can butcher things so thoroughly, so frequently across the games that they produce.
Well, Ukes is no longer going to be making these games, and this is the last one that Ukes made. But Ukes and 2K parted ways in the summer. So I'm wondering if it kind of feels like 2K fired Ukes, who was they were working on their own wrestling game and wanted out anyway. and then received the almost finished but still needed polished game on Yuke's engine and didn't have anybody that knew how to work on it.
Okay. That sounds like a reasonable thing, but then, delay it, get it
Yeah.
right. But
Yeah.
2K is and always has been very interested in having their yearly update in the form of a game release for those.
Yeah. Ben just put a picture of his dad of John Cena, who looks like he aged 30 years between last year and this year.
Yeah, it looks real bad.
um,
That's his father, Jonathan Cena.
So the only thing with 2K, the yearly games, I don't know if they really can delay them because they're yearly.
Yeah.
Oh, and this person's missing half their face.
Nightmare fuel.
Yeah. Wow. So dumpster on fire. That's what this game is, apparently.
This
A
is the
dumpster
dumpster
on fire
factory.
out of 100.
The dumpster factory is on fire here.
Well, like, how do Steam reviews work? Do they give like a score or anything like that? Because it literally says mostly
No.
negative.
So when you rate a game, you can give it a thumbs up recommended or thumbs down not recommended, and depending on what the percentage is of thumbs up versus thumbs down, it will give a ranking somewhere between mostly positive to mostly negative, with it being like somewhat positive, neutral, and somewhat negative in the mix.
Okay.
And so for it to be mostly negative, it means that it needs to be a vast number of thumbs down responses in the review versus people saying like, yeah, I liked it because I like wrestling, and give it a thumbs up,
Right. Huh.
That's wrestling.
All right. Well, so
No one hates wrestling as much as wrestling fans.
so let's move on. Ubisoft delays Watch Dogs, Gods and Monsters, and Rainbow Six Quarantine. This from Rebecca Valentine at GamesIndustry.biz. The three games should come out in the second half of 2020 now, as opposed to the end of this year, and will be, quote, optimized for the next generation of consoles. The delay is mostly for polish reasons, but also because The Division 2 and Ghost Recon Breakpoint did not do as well as Ubisoft had hoped. This is me gleaning that information from what they said. It seems like they're taking a loss on this fiscal year and pushing back games that would be more successful into the next year to try and make 2020 a good fiscal year as opposed to trying to save 2019.
So
Yeah,
some of this,
Breakpoint did real bad.
yeah, some of this sounds like they just got the newest version of the next consoles from
did.
whatever, and they tested it on them, and they were like, look, if we wait a little bit longer, we can release this game twice, once for the new console and once for the old console, at the same time, and they're going to be fine with making that money that way. And I definitely agree with, because I read the whatever press release they had, and it sounds like they are just trying to take 2019 as a loss and then roll out a number of good games all at once.
Right, because we're supposed to get a new Assassin's Creed game next year too. They're taking a year off between or whatever now, and it was well worth the wait for sure. Because I was never interested in the Assassin's Creed games. Ben had me play a little bit of 2, I think, and the combat was like, I mean, the game was good, but like for me, the combat was like, not for me. And then playing Odyssey was a ton of fun. Granted, I did the thing I always do where I played to like halfway through and got burnt out on it, so I haven't gone back to it, but I probably will later because it's really good. I enjoyed it. And then, okay, another delay, and this one I'm a little sad about, but not too sad. The Last of Us Part 2 delayed to May 2020, so 3 months delay. This is from Michael McWhorter at Polygon. The reason that was given was, quote, we simply didn't have enough time to bring the entire game up to a level of polish we would call Naughty Dog quality. And that quote is from Neil Druckmann, who is the game director of The Last of Us Part 2. And with the announcement coming so soon after the official release date announcement, I had a few questions that I wanted to ask you guys. Do you think crunch had anything to do with the delay? That I think that might have been part of it because with a February release date, the game would have had to go gold in early January, and it would seem that that would require crunch through the holidays. So you think that played into it at all, the delay?
Yeah, I think Naughty Dog. I mean, Naughty Dog tends to be the good guy as far as everybody knows when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to I don't know, game studios. So it would make sense that they were like, you know what, let's not just do this. And everybody knows that Last of Us 2 is going to sell gangbusters. So delays or not, it's still going to sell just as well. And I think that they know
Um,
the importance of releasing a good product because if Last of Us 2 is not good, that is going to fuck their world up.
Yeah.
I think it may have something to do with. I know they've had trouble with the multiplayer in development because the person who designed it for Uncharted and the original Last of Us has left the studio and isn't working with them anymore. So they've had trouble with trying to get the multiplayer aspect up to speed with Last of Us. And
Well,
if I'm
they
remembering
already
correctly,
they removed it. It's not going to be part
yeah,
of the game at all. And they did announce that they're still working on multiplayer, but it's a different team and will likely be a standalone game.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So then,
Um,
yeah, it's got to be crunch concerns or something where they found that it was not meeting the benchmarks that they have set out for it.
yeah. I heard on Kind of Funny Games Daily speculation that the February release date was likely Sony pushing to get it out around that time because we still have two games left in the PS4 life cycle, and with Last of Us getting pushed back to May, they're right on top of each other. The other one is Ghosts of Tsushima. So do
Oh,
you guys think that this was like Naughty Dog wanting a May release and finally beating Sony, or do you think something big may have broke in The Last of Us that required some immediate attention?
I have no way of knowing. Whew, I don't know at all.
I feel like something that major to break this late in development would be unusual because at this point you're trying to apply polish and fix any sort of bugs. So unless they discovered a large game breaking bug that was previously undiscovered or a major fix that they've been working on for some game breaking bug was unsuccessful, I could see that. But it could be a combination of things where they just aren't going to be able to reach a level of the smooth gameplay that is expected of Naughty Dog with the idea that, if we wanted to get these done, we'd have to crunch hard through the holidays and they don't want to subject employees to that or, any number of things.
Yeah, cool.
Can't wait.
All right, and we got one more story. Call of Duty Modern Warfare won't be sold on PS Store in Russia. This from Rebecca Valentine at GamesIndustry.biz. The statement in English that was provided to Eurogamer is as follows. Call of Duty Modern Warfare is a fictional game that has been thoughtfully created to entertain fans and tell a compelling narrative. Sony Interactive Entertainment has decided not to sell Modern Warfare on the PlayStation Store in Russia at this time. We look forward to launching Modern Warfare digitally in Russia on October 25th on PC via Battle.net and on console via Xbox. That statement came from uh,
Activision.
Activision, yeah, not Sony. This isn't the first time Call of Duty game has been subject to extra scrutiny in Russia. No, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 saw its controversial no Russian level that asked the player to participate in a massacre of civilians at an airport removed in the Russian release. Modern Warfare's story campaign centers around a rebel force battling Russian occupation in the fictional Middle Eastern country of Urzikstan. Preview events have depicted several encounters with Russian soldiers, including one where a soldier murders a young girl's father, and she in turn kills the soldier. The game also reenacts the Highway of Death, which occurred in Iraq in 1991. However, the real event was perpetrated by the U.S., UK, Canadian, and French forces, not Russian forces as portrayed in the game.
I mean, it sounds like one of those things where it's like, for a while, you remember in Australia, if you had too much blood in your game, you had to have your own release, or games that get their, skull and crossbones and stuff removed for China releases. I bet this is something where they do some quick changes to the narrative and then it goes out in Russia anyway, right?
Right. If they even care. And Sony said at this time, it kind of seems just like Sony really needs those Russian sales for something. PS5 maybe. For some reason Sony wants to stay in Russia's good grace right now, and we don't know why. But for some reason this feels much less bad than like Blizzard in China.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the other side of the same coin, right?
Yeah. Like, this is how you do it right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I still need to pick this game up. I really wanted to play it, and I forgot that it was coming out. So actually, we're getting into game season now, and that's stressful for me because my bikes are not done.
Right. We got, for me anyway, Pokemon and Kojima's game that I'm brain farting on.
Death Stranding.
Death Stranding are both next month.
I really want to know about Death Stranding because I've been hearing that people have been playing it, but they're not allowed to say anything about it.
Yeah.
That's the whole mystique, right? Nobody knows what's going on, and people who know what's going on aren't saying anything. So it's like the mystery of the season.
Well, I was super excited, and as Kojima's been releasing more information, I've become less and less excited.
Yeah, the people playing it it seems like that embargo is really intense because they won't even, like, they'll say Death Stranding and then won't say anything else, even if it's already been released, because apparently it's that complicated and ridiculous that any kind of conversation about the game whatsoever could potentially break embargo.
Yeah, no one will say anything at all regarding that game.
Yeah.
Should we get a clap here?
Yes.
Before we move?
1, 2, 3. All right, let's get into listener questions brought to us by your favorite vodka company.
This week's listener questions are brought to you by the Goblin Model, a product of Vex Vacuums, a half-brother company of Cosmodrome Vodka. Are you tired of seeing dirt from Guardian's shoes all over your floors? Are you in need of a trustworthy household vacuum? Then look no further than the Goblin Model from Vex Vacuums. Harnessing the power of your average Vex Goblin, this vacuum is perfect for everyday dirt and dust that the average Guardian accumulates. The Goblin Model utilizes void blasts and solar lasers to destroy the dirt and dust it sucks up, making the Goblin Model totally bag-free. No bag means less maintenance, and at a price of just 50,000 glimmer, it's affordable for Guardians of any economic standing. Just pop on over to any Red Legion Royal Bath and Beyond to pick up your Goblin Model today. Disclaimer: Vex Vacuums is not responsible for any unplanned murders in your Goblin Model commits. It's just in their programming.
Don't think I'll be picking that product up. Cosmodrome Vodka, you don't have to send us the model of this one. They do send us all the vodkas and whatnot that they come out with and all their products so we can test them for you. But unfortunately, we've never been able to review them for you on the show because, well, we don't want to make our sponsors look bad.
You can send this to Fluffy. I heard he uses a Roomba. He might need an upgrade.
Yeah, maybe they'll fight to the death. The Roomba and the Vex vacuum.
I would
can't-
just be worried if you looked at it wrong, it'd fold in half and collapse itself. You know, the whole goblin thing.
Yeah,
right.
it's terrifying. All right, Phoenix wants to know, what proof do you have that Titans aren't crayon eaters?
Have you seen a crayon in Destiny ever?
It's a fair point. He's got you there. All right.
Also, I want to say, I would venture to say that we are the most Titans that there are. We are very Titan around here, and I personally have never eaten a crayon.
I have not eaten a crayon either.
So
I know one of them is called Peach, but you can't eat it.
I mean, I think you can. You can eat anything if you're brave enough.
It's true.
It's true. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I got nothing. I'm off my game today. Grumpy wants to know, where's our first date gonna be? You have 18 days to figure it out. Well, probably at the skate park.
Well, I was gonna say he should pick. He's the one that's from here. He knows the places.
Skate park, then barbecue.
Oh, barbecue.
Oh my God. Nothing but wheels and barbecue sauce. That's all I want to dream about. Phoenix wants to know, what's the nutritional value of crayons? Well, you tell us. I'm sure Cosmodrome Vodka is going to come out with a crayon vodka next, so
Yep.
they can
Do you
probably
think
tell
they
us.
have a little like nutrition label on the back of the Crayola boxes?
I'm pretty sure it says not to eat them.
Yep.
Oh.
I'm pretty
I
sure.
don't know.
as
It's a
well.
lot of fine print, and I don't know how to read. So,
Aren't you a warlock?
you know, I was originally a hunter, right?
No. See, that makes even more sense then. Phoenix wants to know, are Solar Titans the best blacksmiths? Yes.
Yes.
That's why we have big hammers. Have you seen
Big fiery hammers? They don't even need a forge.
Look, they've made a subclass that even gives you the blacksmithing hammer. You just throw it at people.
Yeah.
Which I miss
It's on
Blake
fire.
Catch.
You don't have to heat the metal. You just hit the thing, and it's all right. There you go.
Oh, that's bad forging right there. I tell you what, Will Willis would not be pleased with what you're doing.
That's what I'm saying. They have a special hammer specifically for forging.
Yeah, but never mind. Forged in Fire fans, you got that joke. Grumpy wants to know, when are hunters getting a pet?
Whenever you want, just go pet a hunter.
No, not when our hunter's going to be your pet. It's not what he's asking.
I mean, who would trust a hunter with a pet, though? You know, I think making a hunter into your pet is probably smart. They need
here's
they
the
need
thing.
a
They need-
babysitter anyway.
They need an independent pet, like a wolf.
Well, that's wolves are for titans. Ask Lord Saladin.
Yep.
He's the only guardian I know with a pet. And before any of you try and jump on me and tell me that Hawthorne's got a pet, pretty sure she doesn't have a ghost. So get the fuck out.
Hawthorne's not a guardian.
Cade had a pet.
That's
Who
true.
had a pet? Cade?
Colonel.
Well, Cade doesn't
mean,
exist
did he?
anymore, so
That's also true. Pouring out for a real one.
yep. Pour out some hard cider for that guy.
Pour out your barbecue sauce.
Phoenix wants to know, this is a real question. If you could create an exotic to perfect your favorite build, what would it be and what would it do? Now, hear me out on this one. It's a chest piece, okay? It's got one of those logos that was on the old tower painted right on the front. Okay, it's blue. And when you use it, what it allows you to do is when you're in the air, it gives you a midair dash.
Interesting.
What would you call it?
Twilight Garrison.
Oh, I like it. I know. I got one here. It's their arms, and they come in void so that you can put the right mods on it. And when you go to punch things, they give you increased lunge distance, And then if there's more than one enemy in the area, you do increased damage. But mind you, they're void, not solar.
Interesting.
And would those be called void syntheseps?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
So mine would definitely be like a leg piece for a hunter. And if you dodged while you were in close proximity to an enemy, it would completely refill your melee and grenade and give you increased melee damage. So that you could bring back the absolutely filthy combo regularly from Destiny 1.
And what would you call those?
I don't know. I'm not creative with names.
So neither are we, apparently.
Yeah.
Call it Wombo.
There you go. You gotta make sure you have it set to Wombo.
Yeah.
I, he, she, Wombo. The study of Wombo, Wombology. Come on. This is
Wombology.
Great stuff.
Grumpy Dump says to call in the chat, says to call them Combat Wombat.
I like that. It's respectable.
They've just got little marsupials on each foot.
Grumpy also wants to know, why does every warlock have to wear a dress?
Have you ever worn a dress? It's very breezy. It's nice on the nether regions.
Yeah, but they wear pants too.
See, now that's just overkill.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I will tell you, all you men out there who be hating on short shorts, you know, just go outside on a hot day wearing some and realize that you've been inefficiently wearing shorts for the longest time.
Skies out, thighs out.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly. I'm glad that it's acceptable to have shorts above the knee.
Sun's out, buns out.
There you go.
Got to get that tan ass.
That's why we suggest wearing assless chaps here at BarelyADS.
Short assless chaps. Okay.
Above the knee, assless chaps.
Send us your fan art.
Please do. I know Phoenix has been doing a lot of Inktober stuff. I would like to see a fan art.
October, day 27. Above the knee, assless chaps.
Yes.
You've been challenged.
Phoenix wants to know, what armor design styles would you like to see in Destiny's future? I know what I want. I want some more wolf stuff, like Iron Banner. But okay, so I know that the Titans just recently got lion shoulders. Do some wolf kind of stuff, my mans. Love it.
I would love to see some like South American, Central American styled stuff coming in, like Mayan headdress or like the Jaguar theme.
Yes, we've talked about that before.
Tight.
That'd be so sick. Or also, so maybe some Day of the Dead style stuff that you could bring in with Festival of the Lost.
Sugar skulls and
Yeah,
the like.
I would really dig that.
Maybe BioWare crossover armor would be dope.
Colossus X,
Yeah.
the
And
only
seven
armor that's
stuff.
worth wearing in that game.
Yeah, for sure.
Better
And,
stuff with more tubes with like fluid running through it.
Also,
Sci-fi.
you could do some more knight kind of stuff, like knight with a K. I would love more of that, because we got a little bit, but give me some more.
Hunter's got it good with the recent Iron Banner set.
Yes, that Iron Banner set is sick for the hunters.
It's sick for the Titans too, because it's pretty
Yeah, but
form-fitting.
the hunter one looks the best. I'm gonna be honest with you there.
Finally, we get a good cloak and good armor in Destiny 2 for Hunter.
Is there just a straight up chainmail cloak yet?
Only partially chainmail.
I think the Warlocks have one year one.
I would like to see some hunter cloaks with where the hood is down or there is no hood. Bring back the scarf.
Oh yeah.
I love
Grumpy.
that scarf.
Grumpy Dumps in the chat wants to see assless chaps.
Also, chassless apps.
I think that violates Twitch terms of service, so I'll have to keep mine off screen.
Yeah.
That's fair.
All right.
All right, last question of the night. Phoenix wants to know, if someone walked into the bathroom and sat on your lap while you were pooping, what would you do?
We'd talk about the first thing that pops up.
I'd probably rub their nipples.
Oh man, I'm not even gonna try to answer. Quack wins again.
Put my fingers in their mouth.
Oh, man.
Stuff my
Or-
toilet paper in their mouth.
If comedy movies have taught me anything, you're supposed to get into a fight screaming who's number 2 work for.
Yeah, that's our show. Assless chaps and all. You can find me everywhere at Detective Ben Malone. If you can't figure out the abbreviation, you don't deserve to talk to me. And you can find the band of the week, Sophomore, at sophomoreuk.bandcamp.com. For, remember, that album is $6.41 USD. Okay?
Yep.
None of this
The
5
internet will
pounds.
change it for you.
Pounds is not money, okay? Pounds is weight. All right. Where can people find you guys?
You can find me anywhere you can find me. Xanafan711.
And you can find me on Twitter mostly. Make 'em quack.
Cool. And this show is on patreon.com/BarelyADS, BarelyADS.com, BarelyADSShow@gmail.com, Twitter.com/BarelyADS, and Twitch.tv/BarelyADS. Coming to you live at some point.
Yes. Usually on a Sunday. I guess.
All right. And until next week, remember, yeet that meat. Let's do one more clap. 1, 2, 3.
That may be the greatest send-off we've ever had.
I read it in chat and was like, well, that's got to be what I say now.
Oh, jeez. Ben, raid Dan.
Hashtag /raid.
Yeah. Dan Fit.
And they'll do a space
Yes.
and then brackets.
No. No brackets.
Is it actually Danfinity or does he spell it weird?
It's Danfinity.
Raid now. I want to see what he says when we get there. Raid now. Stopping recording. Stopping